Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Today is the 25th of August 2021. It's a lovely Wednesday. Good morning to you at home. Good morning from us at the studio. You're on the Breakfast Show. The Breakfast Show is coming to you live from Bright Television, the home of talk and entertainment. I am Balogun Anthony, and with me in the studio today is
Abayomi Blessing.
Mr. Abayomi is not a new face on the show. He has been with me on the show before, and I'm glad and excited to have him on the show with me this morning. Now, the regular schedule on the Breakfast Show is to start by giving you tips on how to improve your social, personal, your financial, your relationships, and just to better your lives in general. From our tips, we move to give you a short workout video because exercise is important to us. Having your body in the right physical, I don't know if it's a mindset or the right physical form is good to ensure that you're going to have a productive and effective day. From our exercise, we proceed to give you a short, fast, easy to prepare breakfast recipe. To balance your exercise, you need to have a healthy and well-prepared meal. We make it short because we know that you don't have enough time when you're rushing to go to the office in the morning, and the excuse is that there's not enough time, so we'll prepare short breakfast recipes for you. Now, for our short breakfast recipes, we proceed to give you the newspaper headlines, and then from our newspaper headlines, we do a short review of the stories, and then we'll call it a day on the Breakfast Show. Now, before we begin, we're going to go on a short break. Please stay with us. Morning and welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still the Breakfast Show on Bright Television, the home of talk and entertainment. I'm going to quickly begin with our first thing for today, which is our tips. Now, we usually talk about how offices work, how offices function, how to build your team, how to help people be more productive at the office and things like that. We talk about a lot of the positive things that happen in the office, and then we primarily talk about the office because if you are an entrepreneur, it's still an office that you're going to.
Yes.
You may have less staff, but still an office. If you work in a public space or a private-owned company, you have a lot of people that are in your team or colleagues that are not in your team, but then in the same building that you're with, and you're definitely going to have friends.
Yes.
Because you spend more than 8 hours or less in your office. There are people that you're going to be close to, people that are going to be friends, people that you're going to have to walk to, even though you're not generally friends outside the office. You can call them acquaintances or colleagues, but then you spend the bulk of your time in a week, 5 days in a week with these people. People even work on Saturdays, so you spend 6-7 days with these people. Now, even in families, it's very, very difficult to avoid having altercations and conflicts.
Definitely.
People can get on your nerves, and you spat, you beat at them, and then you get into a big argument.
Yes.
Now, we're going to be talking about tips on how to avoid conflicts at the office. Like I said, you spend a lot of your time, 5 days in a week with these people.
Yeah.
It's going to be impossible to say that there will not be any conflict.
Definitely.
Just the other day, I was at my friend's desk, and then she was having an interaction with somebody right then and there, and it made me laugh because I saw other ways they could avoid having that conflict. So that's why we're talking about tips on how to avoid conflicts at the office this morning. Quickly, we're going to start by giving you the first tip, which is avoid gossiping. Now, Mr. Blessing and I could have an argument at the office, and then it should be something that we should be able to trash out by ourselves at that instance.
Yes.
But then people tend to prolong the matter. We talk about it. We are bitter about the conclusions. Instead of keeping that bitterness to ourselves or actually finding a better time to address that issue, I go and tell the next neighbor, this is what he did. I don't like it. This is what it is. And I try to paint you in a bad light to that person. That becomes gossip. Because that person will not go and say, do you know, this person told me this. That Blessing did this to him. He took his reward. He took his, he stole his idea. And then it becomes more gossip. Blessing still steal idea. Blessing, and then it becomes a problem. Once you find out that this is what I did, you will get angry at me. That's prolonging the issue already. That's why it's important to always avoid gossips. If you cannot trash out that issue completely in that moment, be quiet about it. Keep it to yourself. Talking to other people will only end up infuriating you because I might end up talking to someone that doesn't like Blessing. And the person will be like, that Blessing is like that. And I'm like,
pick it up.
I did not know. And what that's going to do is that's going to ruin the friendship.
Yes.
Because if I resolve that with you immediately, the friendship will blossom because we have come to understand it by ourselves without having to involve the whole office. So that's why it's important to avoid gossiping. Funny story, the way I heard about the occasion was gossip. The person in question was trying to gossip with me about the other lady. And then she was exposing some other secrets that I was not even aware of. And I felt it was totally wrong to do that because you're trying to be professional. Why do you have to play dirty? Gossip. What do you think about this?
About gossip, definitely. It cooks things. It has a way, in the Nigerian contemporary society, it cooks things up, you understand? When you start gossiping, you are just, like this is the issue now. You are not facing it directly. You are spreading it. And there's an adage in my local dialect that says, the biggest.
Use your local dialect first. You interpret
okay, they say "enoye lebo." Okay. That means the mouth of people is actually more powerful than any demon or any oracle. You understand? And when you keep dragging issues into people's mouths, they start infusing their personality into those issues. And that it becomes serious and more serious and more serious. And you see, people are so influential. You'll be amazed at how the influence people can have on issues. You'll be so amazed at the influence people can have on issues. So that is why I believe that when things happen, you should be careful the way you spread it among people. Especially people that you know may not be too happy with the other person. You understand? Because I've noticed something about people. When I have an issue with you, I will most likely not want to talk about it to people that like you.
Yes.
I'm going to spread it to people that hate you. And when I spread things to people that hate you, there's only one thing that's going to happen. They are going to infuse their hatred into the issue. So it's better most times talk about it less. Because in the process of talking about it, these people will even make you start seeing that issue in a more magnified proportion. So it's better when things happen, just stay cool. Don't spread it around. Find a way to,
address it.
Or just keep quiet. Just keep quiet till the opportunity presents itself for you guys to sort yourself.
Wonderful. You give it up to the next tip,
which talks about directly addressing the conflict, which is I think I almost
you almost gave it away.
I almost gave it away in explaining the other option. When things happen, I've actually found out that it's better when you directly address the issue. Don't play in circles. I think that's the word.
Yes.
When things happen, find a way to directly address it. If I have an issue with Anthony here, it's better I just walk up to Anthony and say, look, guy, this thing you did, and there's also something about directly addressing the conflict. You need to be calm.
Yes.
There's an English adage that says, if you don't have a nice way to say it, sometimes it's better to not even say it at all. If you know you are still very angry, it's very, 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 from my own experience, it's always better when you know you are very angry, find a place. We all have a way of easing out our emotions. For some people, like for me now, at a point in my life, it was video games. If I have issues, I just sit down. I love playing, football video games, and I take out my anger on the game. Sometimes I can even reduce the difficulty level so that I can easily beat them very well. When I'm through, that was in my school days.
Yes.
Once I'm through with that, I just feel, and then I can now come to you. You understand? It's not like I have an issue with you now, and I'm so angry. And instead of me to calm down, I still take in that rage now. I come, why did you do this? guy, you know, say you fuck up.
The thing about
That is
shouting is the person always perceives it as disrespect. When you come out to them and you're shouting and with your voice, trying to be the loudest, and it turns into a shouting competition. This one is trying to see who has the loudest voice, who has more bass in his voice. It's just attracting unnecessary attention.
You turn it into if I have turned it into a fight. When you want to, just like I said, if there's no nice way to say it, don't say it at all. Calm down.
Wonderful.
Look for a way to actually compose yourself before you get to the person. Prepare what you want to tell him in a way you know will appeal to him. You understand this person. You know, we are talking about offices, which means you have had you have a sort of relationship with this person before through your interaction, so you know what will appeal to that person. Let's say, for example, now the person is a Yoruba person. Just as an example, you know Yoruba people like respect. You understand? So you can come to him in a respectful manner. You know, but after that, you still let him understand that this is what happened. I don't like what you did. I don't like what you did. Please, this is how we can avoid this in the future. This is what happened last time. This is what you did that made me angry. So next time, I'm not saying you cannot do this, but don't go about it the way you did it.
Wonderful. Now this is bringing me to the next tip, which is find the common ground. Now what you said is you walk up to the person, talk to them politely. This is what you did. This is how we should do it in the future. Now that is finding the common ground. This is compromise. No matter how we like to claim that we're right, sometimes we are generally not right at all.
Exactly.
But because of maybe your level of seniority, how long you have worked in that place, you would like to say, I am the authority here. Now that doesn't help when you're building a team, because everybody likes respect. Even people that are working under, or that are working under you, deserve respect, and they should get respect.
Definitely.
Respect is reciprocal.
Definitely.
If you can talk to someone calmly and say, let's come to a common ground, let's find a compromise to handle this. You're given a responsibility. This person has an idea, you have an idea, but the person tries to lord his idea over you, and then unfortunately the idea fails. Instead of it to now say, laugh at that person and mock that person, which will lead to conflict, you can calmly say, I appreciate that you made an effort, but I also made an effort in the future, even though I'm inferior to you or whatever way you might see it. Let's try to find a common ground. If we have arguments about a certain issue, let's find a common. You like Man U, I like Chelsea. Chelsea beats Man U. Don't bring it as don't use to torment me the whole day. I might get angry. You know that will trigger me to get angry. So let's say Chelsea was the better team, but Man U played well. That's finding a peaceful way to say we won because you guys were not good enough. It's a polite way of saying it. So that's important to find a common ground when you're having altercations. Now, I'm really enjoying bringing you these tips for today. I'm really enjoying myself because we're having a good time in the studio, Blessing and I. Before we continue to the rest of our tips, we're going to go on a short break. Stay with us.
You see, I love
This is still the Breakfast Show on Bright Television, the home of talk and entertainment. It has been an amazing time in the studio. Blessing and I have been talking about simple ways to solve office conflicts. It has been really amazing. We have found ways to handle our issues better instead of getting into altercations with our colleagues. Now, the first thing we said was it's important to avoid gossiping in the office. If you have an issue with someone, it's never a good idea to talk to people about it, especially people that you know do not like the person you're talking to. They're only going to make the issues worse and paint that person in a totally negative light, and that will destroy future relationships you might have with whoever you're having conflicts with. The second thing we said was directly address the issue. Do not try to prolong it unnecessarily. Do not try to say, it's important to calm down, find time to calm down and address it, but never leave it for too long without addressing the issue. Do not bring up past issues instead of directly addressing the problem at hand. And the next thing we said was find a common ground, find a compromise to ensure that in the future you do not have issues or altercations with anyone. Now, the next thing you have for us is
keeping an open mind.
Wonderful.
Yes, so when you have issues with someone and you are trying to resolve it, it's better you are just open. You understand? I've noticed that some people, like when they have issues, you understand, they don't, they are not really that open with you. You just find out that there's a change in the attitude. And you don't even understand. And you don't even understand. That's the funny thing. You know, you have an issue with someone, and instead of them to just come to you and say, "This is what you did," the first thing that happens is I stop greeting you.
That's the and then you wonder
why you? And then the other person now tries to be polite and even greet you, and instead, no. I just and I move on. Or you even greet, you understand, and I will answer you, but the response is so cold. And the funny thing about us, especially in this Nigeria, is that sometimes the other person will come out, what did I do now? What did I do you? And instead of you to just say, this is what you did, no, no issue now. No issue.
We are so good at hiding our...
No issue, I don't get issue with you. But you can see it, you can feel it, you can even hear that there's an issue. So it's better...
I have been in a situation where the thing that brought the conflict wasn't what I actually did. Let's say we are in a team discussion and everybody's trying to pass the idea across. You try to pass your idea across, but your voice is quiet and I'm shouting and I get my idea ahead. And you now hate me because I did not let you shine, or So that's just unnecessary reasons to have issues with people. Exactly. See, what you said is true. Nigerians, there's this thing that we love to do. We like to try and play cool, even though we're not cool.
Exactly.
It's obvious that you have an issue with this person. The person feels it. We're not dumb. Everybody can feel. There's no way you would be pissed, you would be upset about something, and I will not know.
Exactly.
I can tell from the tone of your voice, the way you look, and I'm not a fool. For the fact that I asked you, is everything okay? You should be decent enough to say, no, I don't like what, even if it's 3 days ago, 10 days ago. That's how bad Nigerians are. We can keep malice for so long. Exactly. Tell me that this is what I did so that I avoid that in the future.
Exactly. So, about keeping an open mind, when something happens, be open about it. You understand? When there's an issue, tell this person. Like I said, there's always a nice way to say it.
Things, yes.
Sometimes it's even better, even if there's no nice way, say it in a way that is not too nice. But make sure you at least you express yourself. It helps to clear the air.
Yes.
So when something happens, at least be open. Be nice enough, or even when you're not nice, be honest enough to express yourself.
Yes.
To express yourself. It helps a lot.
Now, the next thing I'm going to say is involve a third party only if needed. Now, you might have altercations with your superiors in the office. That's a very huge possibility. Not everybody's going to like your idea. Not every superior is going to treat you right. Now, you have people in the office who are better to handle these issues. You have the HR department. You have the admin department that you could report. That person might have another manager ahead of the person that you could report them to. And they will help you smooth out the issues. Now, this is different from gossiping because it is only necessary. You only do this when it is necessary. When the person is your superior or claims to be older than you in age or number of experience and you cannot tell the person directly, or you are a shy person, you don't want people to feel like you are telling on the person. You could meet a superior. They could silently call the person to order and caution him so that in the future you avoid this kind of altercations, because the purpose of working in a team is to ensure productivity. And then when the team is not oiled properly, there's going to be a lot of creaks. Yes. And this is going to lead to a lot of damages to the business. And at the end of the day, the both of you might end up leaving the job or losing the job because you are not addressing the issues properly.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. And about involving a third party, I believe if you're working in an office, you understand the people that are close to your colleagues. You understand? There's always a friend, or maybe not even a friend, but someone that this person respects, someone he listens to. So when you have an issue with this guy, you can
talk to that person.
Wonderful. If you have like an HOD now, this HOD is not too cool. Because a lot of time there are favorites and there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of politics going on in the office. So when you notice this, find someone that can connect with this person. You understand, and express yourself to them.
Wonderful.
And please don't foil it up. Don't add some Maggi and salt. It's not needed. Just like we said, be open about it. Go to the person. This is what this person did. Sometimes you can even keep out some details that can attack this person's personality later on in the future.
Nigerians are keeping that detail. That's not our strong suit. That's not our strong suit.
Okay.
But it's important to learn how to do that.
So you need to find a way to say it, and you go to this person and be like, okay, please help me tell so and so that. And like you said, it's only when it is needed. There are times when you know it is not needed. In cases like that, there's no need for you.
If you do that in cases that you know it's not needed, that's gossiping. That's clearly gossiping.
Definitely.
Now you have the last tip for us today.
Says we should learn from experience, which is a very, very I think this is like this point kind of covers everything we have been talking about. You have an experience with people. Always learn from your experience. Don't repeat mistakes. You know what you did last time that led to your altercation with this person, with so and so person. You should learn from it. For example, now maybe the last time you had an issue with someone, you addressed it in a violent manner, and you saw what happened.
Oh.
And some people will be like, no, that's me. I'm just being myself.
I can't change.
No. I want to be real. That kind of realness.
It's not your business.
That kind of realness is destructive. It's not cool. It's not cool. The other time you addressed it in a violent manner and you didn't like the way the thing. You yourself, you are not happy with the outcome. But your and about this point, you need to let go of your ego. You understand? I used to have this manager, a boss, one time that says, the world is not concerned about your pity and your sorrow. You understand? The world is not about you. That is why you need to learn from your experience with people. When you want to relate with people, the people you are relating with should determine how. It shouldn't be about you every time. It shouldn't be about where you come from, how you do things. It should be about what is acceptable to these people. That is where experience comes in.
Wonderful.
When you have an experience with people who are short-tempered you have an experience with short-tempered people, and you refuse to apply this experience, it's really not the way to go about things. You should know when you have an experience with one short-tempered person, next time when you want to deal with other short-tempered people, how to address it from your previous experience.
Wonderful. I love how this last point just sums up our whole tips for today. Now, if you have followed us, you would understand and learn that there are easier ways to handle conflicts in the office, and you do not always have to be in a shouting match with your colleague.
Yeah.
You do not always have to be at arms with your colleague. Whenever they come around, just get guarded because you're having issues with that person. Now, that's all for our tips for today. We're really going to go into our exercise portion of today. It's important to warm up your bodies to have a productive day at the office. We cannot have you sleeping at work. We cannot have you sleeping at the office. So prepare to exercise now. We'll be going and playing our exercise video now. Welcome back for the to the show, and thank you for staying with us. That was our exercise clip, and then we immediately went to our short breakfast recipe for today. I hope you followed through and enjoyed that. We always talk about the importance of balancing your exercise with the amount of food you eat. Make sure that it's not too much, so that you don't end up having a tiring day at the office. You cannot get to the office and by the early morning you're already sleeping or yawning that you're tired. So it's important to balance your food and your exercise so that you have a productive day. Now, quickly going to go to our newspaper section of today, where we'll be giving you the headlines and some of the trending stories for today. Stay with us. Welcome to the newspaper headlines of today. Today is the 25th of August 2021. The first paper with me is the Punch newspaper, and the first story reads, outrage as uniform-wearing gunmen invade NDA, errant officers to face trial. Terrorists in army uniform subdue military officers, kill 2 and abduct 1. Our security architecture was compromised, says the Nigerian Defense Academy. It's terrible, a big embarrassment to the nation. ACF, soccer pool, others lament. That story is continued on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And the next story that says, consultant, others senior doctors storm Saudi Arabia recruitment center. Another holds on Thursday. Just talking about the influx of doctors that are traveling out of the country to Saudi Arabia because of the poor or deteriorating situation in the country. The next story says, soldiers die in army detention center. Widow demands probe. That story is continued on page 6 and page 4 of the Punch newspaper. Buhari, Abiodun, others mourn Duro Jaye, says ex-senator fought dictators. That's on page 11. Ex-soldier with 8 wives, 50 children, arrested with 3 kg skunk. That's on page 5. And the next story says, 28 states with storage facilities get vaccine doses. Commuters stranded as Lagos drivers protest alleged tax force extortion. 2022 budget. Health, defense, transport, works get highest capital allocations. That's on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. At the top of the Punch newspaper, we have PIA. Government can sell NNPC shares to individuals, says Kyari. That's on page 19. PDP splits as 2 chairmen emerge. Wike Secondus divide party officers. Anti-Secondus faction, 5 emergency NEC meeting, fixes emergency NEC meeting for Friday. Protest at PDP headquarters. That's continued on page 10 of the Punch newspaper. The next story says, concession to leave $1 billion loan for FAN, aviation workers. South Africa, Namibia, Nigeria, top global unemployment rates. ROMAFC vows to complete revenue formula review this year. That's all from the Punch newspaper. If you find any of those stories interesting, please get the Punch newspaper and read up more on any of the stories you find interesting. Moving over to the next newspaper,
which is The Nation, volume 13, Wednesday, August 25th, 2021. Our major headline is military launches manhunt for officers abductors at NDA. Then we have Gunmen kill 2 officers, injure another. ACF, PDP, and others. It's embarrassing. DHQ. They sneaked after breaching the perimeter fence. Our security compromised. Secondo's suspension throws PDP deeper into confusion. Deputy chairman battle for control. Northwest Council splits. NWC splits into 2. Court strikes out DSS suit against Igbo's men. Lagos gets COVID-19 machine. Afenifere chief Durojaye dies at 88. Buhari and governors mourn. Osun drops charges against APC secretary, ex-commissioners. Insurgency. 10% of Borno residents missing, says Zulum. Federal government plans 13.98 trillion naira budget for next year. 6 Tejina Islamic school pupils die in captivity. Flash floods coming in 34 states. PIA 1-year takeoff plan strange to law, says Kayari.
Okay,
that's all from the Nation newspapers.
Wonderful. Moving over to the Guardian newspaper, the first story here says, still on the NDA, NDA attacks, slap on military, Yoruba Northern Elders film. Says bandits contact NDA, demand 200 million ransom for abducted major. Nigeria's security on reverse gear, says Arewa leaders. Group demands immediate overhaul of security architecture. Nigerians have lost hope in Buhari, APC, says PDP. PDP in a mess as 2 acting chairmen surface. Akinwumi, Nazif claim chairmanship position. Nazif fixes emergency NEC meeting for Wednesday. Akinwumi postpones NWC meeting indefinitely. This story is continued on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. At the top of the Guardian newspaper, we have EFCC orders bank to probe income sources of customers. 6 Tejina pupils die in captivity. Kebbi Assembly Speaker deputy impeached. Court strikes out DSS suit seeking further detention of 4 Igboho's aides. All of this continues on the Guardian newspaper. To read further, please purchase the Guardian newspaper and you'll find out more details on the headlines. Okay, next one.
This one.
Okay.
Daily Sun. Wednesday, August 25th, 2021, volume 18. Confusion in PDP as 2 AG chairmen emerge. Akinwumi suspends NWC indefinitely. Nazif summons NEC meeting Friday. Anambra Guba. Police plan crackdown on ESN and IPOB. Governors Lawan Kalu greet Sultan at 65. Over 100,000 killed in Northeast Zulum. Says not all surrendered insurgents are criminals. Igbo's associates still in detention after bail. DSS heads to appeal court. That continues on page 5. Fury over terror attack at NDA. ACF, YCE, Ohaneze, others express outrage as 2 officers are killed. Major abducted. Our security architecture was compromised, says NDA spokesman. Military neutralizes 6 kidnappers, recovers weapons in play 2. That continues on page 4. Kebbi Assembly impeaches Speaker and Deputy. That continues on page 6. Gunmen kill 6 in Rivers communities. Military neutralizes 6 kidnappers, recovers weapons in Plateau. That continues on page 5. Nigerians to have new revenue formula 28 years after. Just to continue on page 2. That is all we have on the headlines for Daily Sun.
Moving over to this day newspaper. First story, PDP crisis worsened as courts restrain secondos from parading as chairman. Lawan urges less borrowing. That's going to make for an interesting read. That's continued on page 10 of this day newspaper. The next story we have here says, Disney launches WhatsApp edition with free delivery to 73 million NTM subscribers. Osibanjo, I have not declared interest in 2023 presidential election. And there's a picture here rewarding excellence. The chief executive officer, Tech for Nigeria, there was an award of 1 million naira. I think that's for excellent performance, and that story is on the Disney newspaper, continued on page 10. It will make for an interesting read. So please, if you want to find out more details on the stories, please purchase the Disney newspaper to read more on the stories. And the last newspaper with us here is Daily Independent.
Okay. The major headline on the Daily Independent for today is NDA attack shows all is wrong with our security. ACF. Northern Elders says it's intelligence failure. Wants NSA sacked. NDA vows to track bandits who killed 2 soldiers, abducted 1. Third fund OKs 29.6 billion for varsities, polytechnics, education colleges. That continues on page 4. Panic as gunmen invade rivers communities, kill 6 persons. That continues on page 5 of the Daily Independent. 34 states under threat of flash flooding. NIMET warns. Igbo owes aid. DSS heads to appeal court. TCN restores national power grid after partial system disturbance. That continues on page 5. Government should stop borrowing to fix economy. Sanusi Lamido. That continues on page 2. Jonathan will be heavily defeated if he contests in 2023. Ida Osa. That will continue on page 9. I think we would like to find that out.
Wonderful.
Then the picture here says Ebenezer Onyago, Group Managing Director, Zenith Bank, and Dapo Abiodun, Governor of Ogun State, during the CEO's condolence visit to the governor and the family over the demise of their father, Pa Emmanuel Abiodun, in Iperu, Remo, Ogun State. PDP crisis festers as 2 deputy chairmen fight over secondus seats.
Okay. I think that's all on the newspaper headlines. We have less than 5 minutes to highlight some of the stories. The most recurring story across all the papers were the issues, the reports of the attack on the NDA. A lot of people have come out to say it's a slap on the military, it's a slap on the security infrastructure that has been set up in the country. And this is coming days after President Buhari had said that he did not want to be a failure in terms of security. He sternly talked to the NDA especially, and then this is happening. This is like a rebuff at his remark. Yes. It feels like the bandits wanted to test the NDA because this is really alarming. We are seeing insurgency in Borno 10%. The governor is saying more than 10% of Borno residents are missing, and then we're hearing that the NDA cannot protect. I don't want to say cannot, because I don't want to believe that they cannot protect themselves. But this is disappointing. This is really disappointing, and I agree that it's embarrassing. It's only making the situation of the country more alarming, because we see on the newspapers every day how these people see scores, the arrest scores of bandits. They say 1,200, 1,000 bandits have been arrested, 2,000. We are seeing different figures, and then for this to happen to the NDA, it's just really something that needs to be worked on and treated with immediate effect.
These issues should be addressed, should be addressed very seriously by the government. Okay, and I believe that when there are so many rumors that the NDA will always come out to deny and a lot of stuff like that, but beyond just coming out to make a public statement, the NDA, our security agencies need to show it. They need to actually. People don't really trust the security agencies anymore, and they have every justification.
Yes, because this is making it worse.
Honestly, when you hear
that you cannot protect them.
Can't protect themselves, can't even protect their greatest strongholds, their base of operations in the country.
It's the nerve of the insurgents for me. It's the nerve of the insurgents to kidnap a top officer and demand for 200 million ransom. 200 million naira ransom. That's really terrible. Really terrible.
And I think why we talk about a lot of issues in the country, you know, it just the body language of the government in power now. It
There's
doesn't.
something else.
It's not really. It doesn't really speak so much of confidence. You know, there's nothing for you to be confident about with the way the government is handling things. So we just need to be honest about these things. The government needs to really address this security
They
issue.
need to come out
And it's
and
not
say
about
this
coming out to make this, you know, these nice comments on the radio, on the television. People want to see it. People want to see it. When you get these
Enough of your
bandits,
words, more of your actions.
make a public, make it, you know, make it public about how you address this bandit situation. You understand? Don't come out and say something on the interview, and that's where it ends.
That's where it ends. Wonderful.
Effect those changes.
One of the stories that really caught my attention was the warning by NIMET on the threats of floods to
yes.
34 states. I think we need to take this seriously because we're still in the rainy season and the rains have been heavy this year. So this is something that every state should pay attention to before we start to have a serious problem with flooding, people losing their homes and their livestock. This is ample time to prepare. This is enough warning from the body in charge of that. Please, it should be something that should be taken seriously by every state governor. Start to make provisions for supplies, for relief materials, if you know your areas have been heavily flooded in the past. Because you know with this one in 34 states, and how many states do we have in the country? This is just really alarming, and we should all take it seriously. I saw stories about the governors that were fleeing the country. I'm not surprised because they have been saying that the negotiations with the government has not been forthcoming. They are not going to say anything unless they see the money first. I still think that the problem is that we are not treating these people right. How can you say no work, no pay when they have been working for so long without pay? How can you threaten them with no pay when they are not actually getting paid? So I think the health system should be looked into. I like that I saw that some funds were going to be disbursed into health. It should be done as fast as possible so that they can come back to do their essential duties. COVID-19 is still on the rise. We will ensure that we tell you every time to social distance, wear a face mask when going in public because the COVID-19 is in its third wave and the Delta variant is stronger than the rest variants that we have seen. So it's important to social distance, and then we hope that you too have a lovely and productive day. We have given you tips on how to avoid vacations at the office. So if anybody's getting on your nerves, we know you know how to handle that issue now. We hope that you have a productive day and an amazing Wednesday. We are going to have an amazing time in the office today.
Yes.
Thank you for staying with us on the show. It has been the Breakfast Show. We're going to come live tomorrow, same time. Please stay with us and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.